Hello there and welcome to this Thursday's SBC News. The Seychelles Trading Company is at the moment limiting the wholesale of flour on the market due to delay in the shipment of the product. Flour is still available for consumers on retail RRP at the hypermarket. STC says the measure is only temporary as a new shipment is expected to arrive in the coming days. The Deputy CEO of the STC, David Jean-Baptiste, says this situation arose due to international circumstances beyond their control.
Main reason that has caused the scarcity is that recently at STC we have noticed a massive increase in demand of flour at STC. We normally sell around 60 tons of flour every week, but we have noticed recently in the past 2 weeks that the demand of flour is around 120 tons every 2 days. So this has massively depleted our stock, and we are finding it very challenging to ensure that what we have will take us until when the next shipment arrives. However, we are pleased to announce also that in the coming week, most probably Wednesday or Thursday, we are receiving a decent consignment of flour that will bring things back to normal with regards to the availability of flour on the market. But it is also important to mention that what is happening with the flour situation is an international problem, because it is becoming increasingly challenging to get flour on the international market at the price that we used to get flour at. Meaning it is becoming more expensive on the international market, and also there is scarcity in terms of shipment of containers to bring the flour to the Seychelles.
The Women's Caucus in the National Assembly has organized a 2-day workshop to create awareness for its members on sexual and gender-based violence. This is in collaboration with the Attorney General's Office, Police and Social Services, and with the support of the SADC Secretariat. The workshop, being held at the Savoy Hotel in Beauvallon, was officially opened this morning by President Wavell Ramkalawan in the presence of the Speaker of the National Assembly, Roger Moncienne, the SADC representative, Kile Boga Moruti, and the EU representative, the French ambassador to Seychelles, Dominique Massa. President Ramkalawan said he was impressed with the level of commitment being expressed in the workshop. He remarked that Seychelles wants to put an end to sexual and gender-based violence and instead focus on respect and harmony. The head of state emphasized on respect and how young children should be taught on how to show respect to others.
Along those lines, the Seychelles has something to share with the rest of SADC. When we put a ban on corporal punishment, it was not just to remove the power or whatever you want to describe it from parents. And many parents have complained about that. They've said, we cannot discipline our children the way we want. But removing that element was very important. And we need to look at it from this angle. It was a way of teaching our children that violence is not the way to resolve issues. That it's not because you do something wrong that your parent, who you may see as the big boss, can pounce on you, beat you, and harm you. But that there can be peaceful dialogue.
Some 50 members of the Seychelles National Youth Council, the SNYC, volunteered to participate in the blood donation drive yesterday. The campaign, held at the Blood Transfusion Centre, the Seychelles Hospital, and also on La Digue, was one of the activities to mark the 24th anniversary of the SNYC this week. The participants, aged between 18 and 35 years, came from two professional centres, SIAD and SITE, the School of A-Level Studies, SALS, UNICE, and communities and workplaces across Mahé. Most of them were first-time blood donors, including a 17-year-old who had to get parental consent. On La Digue, the participants were 8 police officers mobilized by the SNYC. The Blood Transfusion Centre, which is experiencing a scarcity in its stocks of O and A positive blood, has welcomed the drive. The SNYC has also launched a club, the Youth Squad Emergency, which will donate blood regularly and participate in other volunteer activities. The Ministry of Health has received an ISEC 100 sequencer machine, a donation worth $70,000 or 975,000 rupees from the Africa Center for Disease Control, the CDCU Africa. The machine will enable staff of the unit to carry out more tests locally and with more accurate results. It will also help get better results on samples tested before being sent overseas for further testing.
It was the Commissioner of Public Health, Dr. Jude Gedeon, who accepted the donation presented by Sofiona Tessema from Africa CDC. The sequencer will be placed at the Sheikh Khalifa Diagnostic Center at the Seychelles Hospital. Laboratory technicians will follow a 2-week training on how to use this machine.
On behalf of the Ministry of Health, I'd like to first and foremost thank the Africa CDC for this donation of this $70,000 piece of equipment, along with the consumables, the reagents, that would permit us to do very important tests that we've never done in Seychelles. I would equally like to express gratitude to WHO for being next to us throughout many years, and in recent years during the outbreak of COVID-19. And the support that you've rendered to us has been parallel to none. The equipment, fortunately, is not coming just as a piece of equipment. It's coming with expertise to help us to install it, get it commissioned, and also get our personnel trained in its proper use and generation of very important data that would inform our decisions.
Dr. Gedeon said the sequencer will enable them to carry out more tests locally and with more accuracy, and also help to avoid the many challenges the ministry faces when sending samples abroad for tests.
We have many challenges, and when it comes to genomic surveillance, we have to first of all ensure that we have the right shippers that are trained and certified. We have to ensure that the airlines accept our biological samples. We have to ensure that we get import permits to the reference lab at the receiving country. We have to ensure that when we join the queue of other tests that are lined up for testing. So the challenges are big, and because of that we get delays in getting results. And often by the time we get the results, the epidemic has moved on. Now with this piece of equipment, it will allow us to overcome many of these challenges, and it will bring the result at a faster rate for us decision makers, and of course to inform the public.
The National Assembly this week approved a new bill on nature reserves and conservation. This new law will replace the National Parks and Nature Conservation Act, which dates back from 1969. With all the developments that have occurred since, the government has found it necessary to modernize the Nature and Conservation Act. The Minister of Agriculture, Environment and Climate Change, Flavien Joubert, told the National Assembly that the new law will support the promises made by Seychelles, especially with the international community, on plans such as the marine space.